What happened over the last 72 hours represents the most consequential shift in military capability since the invention of precision-guided munitions themselves. The entire foundation of American military dominance, built over 30 years and trillions of dollars, just experienced a catastrophic vulnerability exposure that defense planners have been dreading since the 1990s, but consistently dismissed as technically improbable. Russia has deployed the most sophisticated GPS jamming and spoofing network ever constructed across the entire Middle Eastern theater. American precision-guided weapons, the technological backbone of every military operation since Desert Storm, are now functionally useless across a geographic area spanning from the eastern Mediterranean through the Persian Gulf. Missiles are missing targets by hundreds of meters. GPS-guided artillery shells are landing in empty desert. Drone navigation systems are providing false position data that sends billion-dollar platforms into mountainsides. This is not theoretical. This is not future capability. This is operational reality right now, and the Western defense establishment is in emergency assessment mode, trying to determine how deep this problem goes and finding no comfortable answers. What you are about to hear explains exactly how Russia accomplished what American intelligence assessed as years away from operational deployment. How did Moscow construct a jamming network of this scale and sophistication without triggering Western interdiction? What does this mean for every planned American military operation that depends on precision guidance? And what does a world where American technological superiority has been neutralized look like for the global balance of power? There are three questions that will structure everything that follows. First, what is the technical reality of GPS-dependent weapons and how catastrophic is this vulnerability? Second, why did Russia deploy this capability now, and what does game theory tell us about their strategic calculation? Third, what are the cascading implications across every dimension of American military planning, alliance credibility, and global power projection? Let me be clear from the beginning, what follows is not comfortable. But the truth, however brutal, is what matters. The comfortable lie that American technological dominance is permanent and unchallengeable just collided with a reality that has been building for 25 years. Let me start with the technical foundation, because understanding what precision-guided munitions actually are and how they function is essential to grasping why this development changes everything. The American military has spent over $3 trillion since 1991 building an entire operational doctrine around precision strike capability. The concept is elegant. Instead of dropping hundreds of unguided bombs hoping a few hit the target, you drop one guided bomb that hits exactly where you aim it. This reduces collateral damage, decreases munition expenditure, and allows smaller forces to achieve effects that previously required massive bombardment campaigns. Every modern American weapon system depends on this capability. The Joint Direct Attack Munition, or JDAM, converts unguided bombs into precision weapons by adding a guidance kit that costs approximately $25,000. The system uses GPS satellite signals to guide the bomb to within 5 meters of the intended target. The U.S. military has expended over 500,000 JDAMs since 1998. Tomahawk cruise missiles costing $2 million each use GPS for mid-course navigation. Excalibur artillery shells at $112,000 per round rely on GPS to achieve accuracy of 2 meters at maximum range. High-mobility artillery rocket systems, or HIMARS, firing guided rockets at $168,000 each, depend entirely on GPS guidance. Even unguided munitions increasingly rely on GPS for targeting data. Artillery fire control systems use GPS to determine firing position, target location, and calculate ballistic solutions. Close air support aircraft use GPS coordinates to identify friendly positions and target locations. Medical evacuation helicopters use GPS navigation in combat zones. The entire architecture of American military operations assumes GPS availability and accuracy. Mission planning, logistics coordination, force positioning, and strike execution all flow from the assumption that satellite navigation provides reliable position data anywhere on Earth at any time. This assumption has been valid for 30 years. It is no longer valid. Here is what GPS jamming and spoofing actually does. Jamming overwhelms the GPS receiver with noise on the same frequency that satellites transmit. The receiver cannot distinguish the actual satellite signal from the jamming signal, so it loses position lock. The weapon or platform relying on GPS has no idea where it is. Spoofing is more sophisticated and far more dangerous. Instead of simply blocking GPS signals, spoofing systems transmit false GPS signals that appear legitimate to the receiver. The weapon thinks it is receiving accurate position data, but the position is wrong. A missile programmed to strike coordinates 33.5 degrees north, 44.4 degrees east might receive spoofed signals indicating it is 500 meters west of actual position. The missile corrects course based on false data and impacts 500 meters from the intended target. The Russian system, now operational across the Middle East, employs both techniques simultaneously across a geographic area of approximately 4 million square kilometers. This is not localized jamming around a specific facility. This is theater-wide denial of GPS reliability. Reports from commercial aviation, which also depends on GPS for navigation, indicate position errors of up to 800 meters in flight corridors over Iraq, Syria, and western Iran. If civilian aircraft receivers are experiencing errors of this magnitude, military weapon systems are experiencing worse because the Russian jamming is specifically optimized to target military GPS receivers that use encrypted signals. The technical achievement Russia has demonstrated is extraordinary. GPS jamming at small scale is relatively simple. Theater-wide jamming that maintains effectiveness across millions of square kilometers while allowing Russian forces to operate with reliable navigation is a different magnitude of capability. This requires a distributed network of ground-based jamming stations, sophisticated signal processing to differentiate between American and Russian receivers, real-time coordination across multiple transmission sites, and integration with Russian military navigation systems that continue functioning while American systems fail. American intelligence assessments from 18 months ago concluded that Russia possessed the theoretical capability to deploy such a system, but lacked the resources and technical sophistication to make it operational before 2027. Those assessments were wrong. The system is operational now. This brings us to the strategic question: why did Russia activate this capability now, and what does their timing tell us about broader strategic calculations? In game theory, every player is attempting to maximize their strategic position while minimizing vulnerabilities. Russia revealing this capability represents a calculated decision that the strategic benefit of deployment exceeds the cost of exposing their technical achievement to Western analysis and countermeasure development. Let me walk through the cost-benefit calculation from Moscow's perspective, right? The cost of activating this system includes revealing technical specifications that American signals intelligence will now analyze intensively. The US will develop countermeasures, hardened GPS receivers, alternative navigation systems, and potentially anti-jamming capabilities that reduce Russian effectiveness over time. These costs are substantial. Russia has invested decades developing this capability. Exposing it now means accepting that its utility window is finite before American countermeasures reduce effectiveness. But Russia deployed anyway, which means the strategic benefit exceeded these costs. What benefit justifies revealing such a capability? The answer is straightforward. Russia has concluded that American intervention in the Middle East has reached a threshold where preventing precision strike capability is worth the long-term costs. Either Russia believes American military action against Iran is imminent, or Russian and Iranian strategic coordination has reached the point where denying American precision weapons serves shared objectives that outweigh preserving capability secrecy. Consider the operational reality this creates. The United States has spent 2 weeks moving carrier strike groups, positioning bomber aircraft, and pre-deploying munitions for potential strikes against Iranian nuclear facilities, missile production sites, and command infrastructure. Every planned strike package depends on precision-guided munitions hitting hardened targets with minimal collateral damage. Now imagine executing those strikes when GPS-guided weapons cannot reliably hit within 300 meters of the aim point. A JDAM intended for an underground nuclear facility hits a civilian apartment building 400 meters away. A Tomahawk program to destroy a missile production plant impacts a hospital. The mission fails, civilian casualties spike, and international outrage provides perfect propaganda victory for Iran while undermining American military credibility. Russia just made precision strike against Iran functionally impossible using current American weapons inventory. The choice facing American commanders is either accept massive collateral damage from unguided weapons and face international condemnation, or abandon strike options entirely and accept strategic defeat. This is not speculation about future capability. This is the operational reality right now. The timing also reveals strategic coordination between Russia and Iran that goes beyond previously understood levels. Russia does not deploy its most sophisticated electronic warfare capability to protect Iranian territory unless strategic alignment has reached the point of functional alliance. This suggests intelligence sharing, operational coordination, and mutual commitment that exceeds what Western analysis has acknowledged. Game theory tells us that when a player reveals a powerful hidden capability, they believe the game has reached a decisive phase where holding the capability in reserve no longer serves their interest. Russia revealing GPS denial means Russia believes the confrontation with America over Middle East control has reached the point where preventing American military action is worth sacrificing future capability secrecy. History shows us that powers do not reveal their most sophisticated weapons unless they believe war is imminent or already underway. The Enigma code-breaking secret was preserved even when revealing it could have saved Allied lives because preserving long-term advantage exceeded short-term benefit. Russia abandoning that logic means Russia has concluded the decisive confrontation is now. Yorstinyoa arster on barsi enti densars. Let me show you the historical pattern, because what we are witnessing is not novel. This is the eternal cycle of military technological dominance meeting asymmetric countermeasures that neutralize advantage through methods the dominant power failed to anticipate. The British Empire in the late 19th century possessed naval dominance so absolute that no power could challenge British control of global sea lanes. Britannia ruled the waves through technological superiority in ship construction, naval gunnery, and maritime logistics. This dominance appeared permanent and unchallengeable. Then the torpedo was developed, a small, cheap weapon that could sink the most powerful battleship. Suddenly, British naval superiority became vulnerability. Massive capital ships representing years of construction and enormous expense could be destroyed by weapons costing a fraction of their value, operated by minimal crew from small platforms. The British advantage did not disappear overnight, but the terms of naval warfare fundamentally changed. Capital ship deployments that were previously low risk became high risk. Operations that British admirals would have executed without hesitation became strategically questionable because the cost-exchange ratio had shifted. America and Vietnam possessed overwhelming firepower superiority. American aircraft could deliver more explosive tonnage in a single day than entire World War II bombing campaigns. American artillery could saturate entire grid squares with precision fire. American forces had helicopters for mobility, electronic sensors for detection, and communication networks for coordination. None of it mattered. The North Vietnamese and Viet Cong developed tactical methods that neutralized American firepower advantages. They fought at close quarters where artillery and air power could not be employed without hitting American forces. They dispersed into small units that offered no targets for massive bombardment. They built tunnel networks that made above-ground firepower superiority irrelevant. American military planners had prepared for conventional warfare against massed Soviet forces. They had not seriously prepared for an adversary that would simply refuse to present the targets their weapons were designed to destroy. The expensive, technologically sophisticated American military machine achieved tactical victories while losing strategic initiative. The pattern repeats across centuries. Dominant military powers build advantages based on specific technological capabilities. Adversaries develop asymmetric responses that neutralize those capabilities without directly matching them. The dominant power, having invested everything in the technology being countered, cannot rapidly adapt and faces strategic crisis despite apparent material superiority. American military dominance since 1991 has been built on precision strike capability. The Gulf War, the Kosovo intervention, the Iraq invasion, the Syrian strikes, the targeted killing campaigns all depended on the ability to hit specific targets from standoff distance with high accuracy and minimal collateral damage. This capability shaped American strategic thinking. Wars could be won from the air. Ground forces could be minimized. Adversaries could be defeated through technological superiority without accepting casualties that would undermine domestic political support. Precision weapons made American military power usable in ways that massive bombardment or large-scale ground invasion were not. Russia and Iran studied this model for 25 years. They watched America dismantle the Iraqi military in 1991 using precision weapons. They observed Kosovo, where NATO achieved objectives through air campaign alone. They analyzed the Iraq invasion, where precision strike eliminated Iraqi command and control before ground forces advanced. They learned. And they prepared, not by building equivalent precision strike capability, which would have required matching American aerospace investment and satellite infrastructure, but by developing the countermeasure that makes American precision weapons unreliable. The GPS denial network operational across the Middle East is the culmination of 25 years of strategic planning specifically designed to neutralize American military advantages. This is not improvised response. This is methodical preparation by adversaries who understood exactly how America fights and developed the capability to prevent America from fighting that way. Every empire that became dependent on a specific tactical or technological advantage eventually faced adversaries who neutralized that advantage through asymmetric methods. The empire, having structured its entire military around the advantage being countered, cannot rapidly adapt and faces strategic crisis. We are watching this pattern repeat in real time. Let me walk you through the cascading implications because this is not simply a technical problem. This is a strategic crisis that touches every dimension of American military planning and global power projection. First, immediate operational implications. Every current American war plan for potential conflict in the Middle East assumes precision strike availability. Strikes against Iranian nuclear facilities require hitting underground bunkers with specific weapons hitting specific aim points. Destroying ballistic missile production facilities requires precision to avoid chemical or biological contamination. Eliminating air defense networks requires coordinated strikes hitting multiple nodes simultaneously with timing precision that GPS-guided weapons enable. Without reliable GPS, none of these plans work. The Pentagon has alternatives including inertial navigation systems, terrain matching guidance, and optical targeting. But these alternatives are less accurate, more expensive, available on fewer platforms, and require different tactics that American forces have not trained extensively. Converting American strike planning from GPS-dependent to GPS-independent operations requires months of planning revision, munition stockpile adjustment, and training modification. This cannot be accomplished in days or weeks. The operational reality is that American precision strike capability in the Middle East is degraded right now, and restoration requires time that adversaries will not grant in crisis. Second, alliance credibility implications. American security guarantees to partners including Israel, Saudi Arabia, and Gulf states rest partly on the assumption that American military power can be rapidly projected to defend against threats. If American weapons cannot reliably hit targets, American security guarantees lose credibility. Israel in particular has built security planning around the assumption that American precision strike capability provides ultimate insurance against Iranian nuclear breakout. If Iran moves toward weaponization, American air power can destroy the program before weapons are produced. Or see you here, This assumption underpins Israeli strategic patience with American diplomacy. If American precision weapons are unreliable, that assumption collapses. Israel faces a choice between accepting Iranian nuclear capability or conducting strikes using Israeli systems that may prove insufficient for hardened underground targets. Either choice represents strategic crisis that American planners desperately want to avoid.